Before going for Apple Search Ads, the game has been ranked in top 10 by 24 keywords. After launching the Apple Search Ads campaign, it started to rank in top 10 by 112 keywords. So it's a 4 times organic growth.
Can you be successful in iOS performance marketing while sucking at Apple Search Ads? Hello and welcome to Growth Masterminds. My name is Koetsier. We recently released our 7th Singular ROI Index. One of the findings, Apple Search Ads is now in 2nd place. Out of all the thousands of ad networks that Singular measures and the top 20 or 30 that really matter, ASA now takes 2nd place in spend among Singular customers. Which means, I think, you'd better be good at ASA, and I'd be surprised if ASA is the only Apple ad network by 2024. We'll find out more about that as the year progresses, but how can you be awesome at Apple Search Ads? To find out, we're chatting with an expert, Olga Noha. She's a CMO at Splitmetrics. She's a member of the CMO Council and a former CMO of Koetsier. Welcome, Olga.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, John.
It's a real pleasure to have you. And you know what? I like to start something with a little bit personal. Tell us something about yourself that we wouldn't know from LinkedIn.
That's a great question. Something that you wouldn't find on my LinkedIn is that my career in marketing actually started by a mistake, the best mistake I've ever made. When I was in my 3rd year of studying electrical engineering at university, my dad, who was also an electric engineer, passed away from an accident at work. And I realized that I want to be pursuing an engineer career, and I started to explore other options by applying to various job openings that were available, and one of them was the SEO, Search Engine Optimization role. At that time, that was back in 2006, I had no idea what the SEO stood for, and it might be a role like Chief Executive Officer or something CEO, but I applied anyways. And even though I had no experience or knowledge in SEO, I was fascinated with this idea that a business owner can enhance their web to the point that it gets more visibility and better ranking in Google. So I did my best to learn as much as I could and ended up getting a job. So this lucky mistake, I would call it, was the starting point of my journey from a degree in engineering to becoming a CMO and the beginning of my passion for digital marketing.
I gotta say, the most interesting careers are accidental, or at least partially
They
accidental. There's interesting, odd things that happen to us and push us in different ways, and that is a pretty cool story as well as a sad story. But what's neat about it is how many technical people there are in marketing, how many engineers specifically that I've seen in the past few years in marketing do really well. Cool.
Indeed.
Let's dive into our topic. We're talking about Apple Search Ads. Now, there's a ton of ad networks out there. How important is it for mobile marketers to be good at using Apple Search Ads?
I'm tempted to give a 2-word response. Absolutely crucial, but let me elaborate on this. Statista tells us that there are over 5.7 million apps on major app stores, so the competition is fierce. And Sensor Tower estimates that by 2026, the global consumer spend in premium apps and app purchases subscription will reach 233 billion across App Store and Google Play. Out of existing apps, iOS apps boast twice as much consumer spending compared to Google Play. So any of these publishers would want to get a piece of this multi-billion-dollar pie. And the fact that iOS users tend to make more in-app purchases than Android users increases this fierce competition in App Store. The question is, how can mobile companies beat this competition and succeed with App Store? And this is one of the aspects that Splitmetrics actually helps with. If you're not familiar with the company, Splitmetrics is an Apple Search Ads partner and helps mobile organizations grow faster by offering them advanced technology platforms as well as multi-dimensional agency services. From our experience, we see that when turning to Splitmetrics, such companies have 2 aspects as their critical success factors. They're looking for in-depth mobile growth expertise and expertise in Apple Search Ads and intelligent data-driven technology, because they consider Apple Search Ads as a critical channel that they can neither ignore or be mediocre with. They know it's crucial for them to constantly get better results and eventually get the share of the multi-billion-dollar consumer spend. And this highly intent-driven net with the audience of over 1 billion active iOS devices and the highest paying users is definitely worth all the efforts. If you're not good at ASA and not making the most out of it, you're missing a significant amount of high quality traffic and significant growth opportunities. So it's crucial to be good at it indeed.
It is super interesting to look at Apple Search Ads, right? Because on the one hand, it's somewhat challenging to compare your campaigns on ASA versus other ad networks. Other ad networks use SK Ad Network, the framework for attribution.
Yes.
Apple Search Ads doesn't use Apple Ads attribution, so there's not a one-to-one comparison there. But of course, once you get people into your app, then you can see what they do and see what they're spending, how they engage, if they subscribe, sign up, other things like that. And as we can, those are high quality users. And you mentioned a word there that's important, intent. It's a search-based network, right? So that is, we've always known that search-based networks offer some of the highest intent queries, some of the highest intent traffic, and that's really critical. It is also interesting. Apple can use contextual data to about in groups of 5,000 or so to see what I'm interested in, what I like, what I do, where I spend my time, that sort of thing, and tailor some ads to me as well. So there's a lot of specificity in matching up ads with people in Apple Search Ads, and that adds up to a pretty successful ad network. I wanted to ask about ASA, Apple Search Ads, and ASO, Apple App Store optimization. How are they?
So, and paid ASA in particular are integral part of a holistic mobile growth approach. In our experience, when these two disciplines are aligned, it results in improved store visibility, increased number of organic installs, optimized overall conversion rate, lower user acquisition costs. So it's a big benefit to have Apple Search Ads and ASO synergy, and it drives great organic uplift. I'll give you a real life example of our customer. We have a Splitmetrics agency, and they demonstrated the interconnection between Apple Search Ads and ASO when promoting a mobile game named Deep Down by Rock Band Games. After launching ASA campaign, what they noticed was that the game improved its organic positions for keywords that were included into paid campaigns, and that the users that downloaded the game coming from this relevant keyword, the conversion for the keyword grew up actually. So basically, before going for Apple Search Ads, the game has been ranked in top 10 by 24 keywords. After launching the Apple Search Ads campaign, it started to rank in top 10 by 112 keywords. So it's a 4 times organic growth. What
do you attribute that to?
Say again?
What do you attribute that to? What's the mechanism happening there?
Yes, absolutely. The mechanism is the users download the game with the relevant keyword, the conversion for this keyword growth. And as a result, our algorithm tracks that and drives better position in organic search results. So they see the growth in behavioral results for these keywords, and organic results are increased because the users are downloading the app, not just tapping through the ads.
Yes, that's really interesting because, of course, when you do an ASA, Apple Search Ads campaign, you can really quite target, right? And you can find maybe some of those people who might be your best users. And when you're engaging that mechanism, what you're saying is that it's also teaching the organic search algorithm, the App Store optimization stuff, and saying, hey, you know what? This app is getting really high quality people who are downloading, they're converting at a high rate, and they're engaging in the app and doing things in the app, and maybe even buying things in the app. We should rank this a little higher. That's interesting.
I agree. That's indeed interesting. And I have another use case about ASO and ASA. We were challenged with the scaling the volume for a niche app recently. And our UA specialists were running Apple Search Ads Discover campaign that helped the SO team find the large number of meta keywords for the app title. In fact, these titles were not displayed by the most popular ASO automation tools because the app was very niche. And this synergy again resulted in the growth of install volume by 45%.
Huh. I hope there's a strong wall between ASA and ASO in terms of the mechanism that's connecting them, but it is interesting to hear about what's happening in the background there. Talk about new ad placements. We see new ad placements that Apple added last summer, and I haven't heard amazing things about them. One of them is at the bottom of an app listing, and I wonder how many people scroll down to the bottom of one app and then see an ad for another one. There's other ones as well. What are you seeing with the new Apple Search Ads placements?
Yeah, thank you for this question, John. I'm excited about these new placements being added to Apple Search Ads because it gives developers of all sizes opportunities to promote their app in App Store better. And if you think about it, previously Apple only had ads in search. And yes, we know that 70% of the App Store users would use the search function to find the right app, but it's just one of the touch points across the user journey. And these additional placements give developers opportunity to engage with users via different touch point whenever it's more convenient and relevant for them, for the users. I believe it's a great expansion of the inventor that developers can use to better engage with the user, not just an additional traffic source, but better engagement is important. And basically we can place the placements, arrange these placements according to user intent, going from the colder intent, like Today tab, to warmer intent, like search results, or you might also like a section of the product page. Speaking of each of them separately, Today tab, we all know that that's the first content that the user interacts with when visiting the App Store. Here is our real life observations that we have about it. So while working with the customers, we've found out that Today's tab ads boost brand search results. Literally, when we know that it takes 8 touch points for a user to convert, and based on our observations, the branded search traffic increases the day after the Today tab spike. It means the users
That's another ASO connection. That's another ASO connection right there.
Yes, it shows that the users saw the ad with the Today's tab, and then the next day they go and search for the app for your brand. Another correlation to your point about search results and the connection, that's also correlated based on our observation with Today's tab. So users, after launching the Today's tab ads, our clients increase in paid traffic from search results ads. Although their bids or budgets remain the same, nothing changed. So that's another correlation with that. So that's for sure.
So just to clarify what I think I heard you say there, when you're running both the Today homepage of the App Store ads and you're running search ads on Apple Search Ads, you're seeing an increase in conversion rate on your search ads?
When we run Today tab ads, we see the increased brand traffic to the app the next day. Yep. Because the users saw the ads yesterday, they recognized the brand and come over to the next day because they already know the brand, they search for the brand and the brand traffic increases. And the second correlation is that tap into the ads in search results increases after the ads have been placed in Today's tab. Again, the bids and the budgets remain the same. Search results ads started to perform better as well with Today's tab.
Amazing. And what about the app listings, if I can say it that way? So there's a competitor app or a complementary app, and you get an ad underneath their app listing. How are those doing?
Yeah, I don't have a specific stats about it yet. We're collecting it. And you mentioned, you wonder how many people scroll down to the page to at that point to you might also like some. I don't think there is any official stats available on that. My estimate would be 5 to 10%. But what is important about these placements is that it drives highly engaged users who are already considering which app to download. For some reason, they haven't downloaded a specific app that they were looking at. And that is your chance as a developer to drive their attention to your app, because The intent is there. They've already been looking for the app of that kind to meet their needs, but they didn't download the primary app. So most probably your solution will be the one that meets their needs. This high intent and high quality of the users is key for me with these type of placements.
That is a super interesting insight that I hadn't considered, which is that the types of people who would scroll all the way down and read some of the app reviews and ratings and check out the publisher of the app and stuff like that are highly engaged people who are looking for something very specific. And if they've scrolled all the way down, maybe they haven't found it in the app that they're on the page of. And maybe the right ad beneath might actually be a trigger. That's interesting. So it might not be a quantity solution. It might be a quality solution.
That's how I look at it as well, John. I'm with you here.
Let's talk about custom product pages. They've been around for a while. I'm not sure how many apps are doing that. Is it critical to be doing that? And how many apps are actually creating custom product pages?
I don't think the official stats exist. At least I don't have access to it. But what I can tell from our customers, custom product pages is hot pretty much with every customers we work with. Custom product pages functionality, it's all about personalization and the way to enrich customer experiences. And it's getting even more important now at the times of economic downturns, which for QA managers and app marketers to search for creative ways to achieve more with. So what can you achieve with custom product pages? It's you can highlight specific features and test value propositions. You can optimize it for specific markets or audiences, maximize seasonal opportunities, run promotions, re-engage with your customers. We constantly get requests for development of hypotheses covering all of the above mentioned cases. And I have two examples for you, John. First, real life examples of our customers. First, we worked with an app called Violin by Tanestra. A wonderful app. I wish they existed when I went to music school, but they turned to Splitmetrics with the request to improve product page conversion rates and increase user engagement and basically scale their business. They had a very well composed product page illustrating the options of learning how to play violin. But they had a very interesting feature, violin tuner, that people would use to tune their violin in their first lessons. And they leveraged custom product pages in order to highlight this feature and promote it in Apple Search Ads. And the result they got, they were astonishing. For the US market, TTR increased almost twice, installs grew 2.5 times, and the number of purchases boosted by 3.75 times. For other markets like UK, Ireland, Canada, New Zealand, also great growth in TTR 1.6 times, and installs grew by almost 2 times, and the number of purchases by 40%. This is a great success story, but I have another one which I also love. Another great example that I have on top of my mind is PixArt, a developer of online photo and video editing applications with 150 million monthly active users. They are big. Now, the challenge they had, the early adopters of CPP, because the challenge that they have was targeting specific audiences and segments with different value propositions and offerings and messaging that they had. With the introduction of CPP, PixArt actually have got their silver bullet to address this issue and serve basically a number of different other objectives. Some of their top performing CPPs were reported to achieve an increase of conversion rate by 52%, an increase of users entering the free trial by 153%, decrease of the cost per trial by 50%. That's great results. I love this case.
It's almost like tailoring an experience to what a particular customer or user wants or needs works. Who would have thought?
Exactly. I don't want one size fits all. And when the developer communicates with me that way, I love it. I would definitely download the app. The communication is that personalized.
Absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. So it's interesting. We were chatting off the top when we were getting to know each other about the singular ROI index. And as we were doing that, it's interesting. We saw huge growth in Apple search ads in 2021 in terms of percentage spend by singular customers, not so much in 2022. And how I interpreted that was there was such massive growth last year. It was hard to grow above that. That was at least my interpretation. Does that ring true with you? Your thoughts?
John, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the release of the ROI index. It's huge. I highly recommend every mobile marketing pro listening to us now to go check and download, read the ROI index by Singular. It's a tremendous source of valuable data. And yes, to your point, the report showed that significant growth for Apple happened in 2021, but not so much in 2022. My take on it is very much in line with what you explained right now. When you're operating with such a huge install base as Apple, it's really challenging to demonstrate high growth rates. And in 2021, Apple advertisers, after the iOS privacy changes, App Store advertisers benefited a high intent from both high intent ad network and better targeting. That contributed to the huge growth in 2021. In 2022, the bar was so high that it was hard to demonstrate the same high percentage growth rates. But at the same time, John, we can look at it from another angle. 2022 was a challenging year for everyone, right? Turbulent and volatile market, high risk, significant budget cuts, layoffs, etc. That impacted the entire market. And as you know, the mobile spend was reported to grow much less than previous years by 13.8%, which is basically the lowest percentage growth. However, we saw the trend that advertisers still lean to channel compared to many others because they see a high value in it. And now on our end, we've launched a benchmark report. We've analyzed 1.2 billions of impressions, more than 100 millions of tabs, 72 million downloads. The findings of this benchmark report were interesting because, from one hand, the conversion rate grew compared to previous results, and we analyzed the second half of the year compared to the first one. From the other hand, CPT and CPA were growing. So on the market that is facing recession, one would think that advertisers gonna cut their budget and the competition's gonna decrease, but the CPT and the CPA were growing. And that shows us that's a big signal, the fact that competition is still high. And that is because of this high intent driven and valuable channel that is.
That makes sense to me as well, because when there's challenging times, when there's troubled times, then there's a flight to quality quite frequently, right? There's a flight to what works, or at least you think works, and there's good results there. Makes a ton of sense.
I agree.
We got to draw this to a bit of a close here. Maybe briefly, where in an app's lifecycle should marketers be thinking about ASA? Is it a good place to start an app? Is it a good place to accelerate an app? Does it work throughout the entire lifecycle?
John, what I like about Search Ads is that it suits developers of all sizes at every stage of their lifecycle, from pre-order to scaling. And we all know the cases using Apple Search Ads to scale apps, and the majority of our customers turn to us with this request. But we also had a case of help a customer work with ASA on pre-order stage and basically grow the number of installs at the day of the launch. Livintis, which is a prominent mobile app developer in photo and video category, they wanted to boost installs on their new app release date. What we've done, we identified 400 keywords that covered generic search queries and competitors' titles, related keywords. We launched Apple Search Ads campaigns for them. Thanks to this activity, we were able to generate close to 2,000 of pre-orders for the app. So at the day of the release, close to 2,000 people automatically got the app installed to their iPhones. And that's basically helped to make the release day much bigger. And also, eventually, it helped to get promoted to a top one position in ASO. So again, the correlation with and boost the organic traffic in general. Great case of that side of Apple Search Ads that people not necessarily are considering.
Not necessarily considering, maybe not even aware. I've been in mobile a long time. I've been dealing with Apple a long time. I haven't heard of a case like that. I didn't know you could pre-order an app, like pre-ordering a book on Amazon or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that new functionality? Has it been around for forever? Is that just hidden, buried somewhere deep within the bowels of Apple Search Ads that you could do that?
That's not a new case for us. That's the customer that benefited from this result a year or two ago.
Nice.
That's something
Wow.
that's, yeah, developers might want to consider.
This is why I like talking to smart people. You learn things you didn't know, so that's wonderful. It's a great way to start an app. You hit the ground running. That's amazing. Pre-orders, boom, awesome. Instant user base, very cool. I'd love to see the user experience around that pre-order, and then also the user experience of when it downloads automatically in the background, notification that comes up. There's a lot to dig into there and how that works and how that would look, but that is for another day. Maybe we can land the plane here. Give us your, let's say, top 3 tips for using ASA in 2023.
Yeah, thank you, John. I know that we've always done this way approach won't do the trick. I always advise to look for new creative ways to boost your Apple Search Ads campaigns. My top 3 tips would be, first of all, leverage personalizations for custom product pages. Remember Pixar's case. Second, join forces with your ASO team because we see direct evidence of correlation between great results in ASA and ASO. And the third tip is automate your efforts and your campaigns with AI-powered solutions. You have to win the competition in this battle, and smart solutions like that, technology platforms, will help you win the game.
Wonderful. Olga, this has been an enjoyable 30 minutes. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and insights and data of what's happening in Apple Search Ads. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. Pleasure to talk to you.